What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week, DJ Boyce, class of 2018. DJ is going to tell us everything from his time as a basketball player, why he decided to end up coming to Bethany from Monroeville, how he made it from Ohio to back to Pittsburgh, and everything in between. But without further ado, this is DJ Boyce. You want to know by now. You want to know by now. You want to know by now. You want to know. You want to know. What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week, a Gateway Gator, DJ Boyce, class of 2018. DJ, thank you for taking time out of your day to be on the tour with me.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to do this like we do it every week. DJ is going to tell us how he came from Monroeville and made his way to ye old Bethany here in Brooke County, West Virginia. Before we get into his time at Bethany, we're probably going to talk a little bit about pretty important coach in his life that when he played basketball at Gateway. We'll find out how he got to Bethany. We'll talk about his time here. We'll send it to a break, come back. We'll talk about comps and all the things that DJ is using his finance degree for here in 2021. So DJ, what was it like playing for one of the coaching legends in the Whippeal, Mitch, there at Gateway?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Mitch was one of those coaches. He was really passionate. He was a passionate coach. Anybody that came to a game would see that. He was the one that was making facial expressions, saying things, covering his mouth, saying things to us. But he was one of those coaches that really went to bat for his teammates. You know, especially with my team. My team, we had some of our moments where it wasn't some of our proudest moments, and he really stood up for us, had our back through thick and thin, and we just had to really return the favor and do the same by playing hard for him, winning championships and stuff like that. So
and
he was
there's a Whippeal championship in there, right?
Yeah, two of them. Yeah.
You know, as a plum guy, I don't like to acknowledge both of them. We give you one. So being in Monroeville and being a Gateway and whatnot, what led you to Bethany College? How did you end up finding this little corner of West Virginia?
Yeah, so it was an interesting process of finding Bethany. I originally was getting looks from Division I and Division II schools for basketball, but then my knees kind of gave me some issues toward the end of my high school career, going into my senior year. So a lot of those colleges kind of fell by the wayside, and I found myself my senior year just trying to find a school that would take a shot on me. And I remember it was a playoff game we had against Kiski. And I had a pretty good game, and come to find out, a college coach was there from Bethany. They came down, talked to me, told me a little bit about the school, and then I ended up taking a visit there probably about 2 months after. Mm-hmm. And I really liked the school, but whenever I was looking at schools around that time, I was really focusing on kind of the opportunity a school could give me post-college, not so much what they could do for me basketball-wise. And when I went to Bethany, I really noticed kind of their emphasis, especially in the business department, their emphasis on really their outreach to the financial world in New York and the connections they had and certain programs that they had for the students. So that's what really sold me on coming to Bethany.
So what, and were you were coming in regardless to go into business, that was going to be your field? You had no other, you were pretty set on that?
Yeah, so I came in to do financial accounting. That was my major when I first got to Bethany. They didn't have a finance major technically at Bethany until me and a few other students that were in my class. We came in and we all wanted to do finance. So they kind of created a finance curriculum around us. So then we all made the switch from financial accounting to regular finance. So that's kind of how I fell into that. But it was kind of set in stone for me because I'm a numbers guy. I've been a numbers guy my whole life, love numbers. So going into college, I knew I wanted to do something business oriented. And I felt like doing something like financial accounting or finance, it really kind of captured a lot of things, pretty much everything within business. So would get exposure with many things.
So, and what was a day-to-day life like in your department? What was the major like? What was the professors like?
Man,
I didn't do numbers. I was a talker. I wasn't a numbers guy.
Yeah. Yeah, man, the business department, man, that was probably the best situation I probably could have ever got into. They were all so hands-on. They developed personal relationships with everybody that majored in business. And it was really a safe space for business majors. We were able to go to them pretty much at any time, and ask questions, get help on things, get extra assistance on certain classes. And they were pretty much primarily my professors after like freshman year. Whenever you take all your liberal arts classes, they were pretty much primarily my professors from there until I graduated. So I was able to build like a really good relationship with them that went outside of the classroom. They were able to give me advice on just life, things I should be doing once I graduated college. And I really credit them for putting me in front of the right people that ended up kind of transitioning into my time in New York.
So you actually graduated from Monroeville, well, Gateway. You graduated from Gateway in 2013, but you took an extra year to get out of Bethany, not for the academic side of things, but it was an academic reason. You want to explain, when you just touched on New York, you want to explain what happened?
Yeah. So while I was at Bethany, I want to say it was my sophomore year. Bob McCann, a great guy. He's a alumni of Bethany. He gave the accounting and economics club opportunity to go out to New York and really meet some of his colleagues, network, and do some of that for about 4 days. And we went down there, and I met with some of his colleagues, really talked to them about kind of what I wanted to do after Bethany and some of my passions within the business field. And I luckily turned some heads and impressed some people, and they started asking about me to the vice president of the school and some of my professors. And that ended up turning into me getting into a program on Wall Street called SEO. And what they do at SEO, they prepare you for the finance field and the business world and corporate America. They help work on your resume. They give you technical training and all types of stuff. And it's not an easy program to get into, and it's not an easy program to keep up with. So I was doing that while I was still in classes and stuff like that. So it was a really a juggling act trying to balance that and balance my schoolwork, but I was able to do it. And from that, I was able to get a 7-month co-op internship with IBM through SEO, where I took a semester off of school, moved to Connecticut, and then I was working at IBM's headquarters in New York for 7 months. And while I was there, it was really that experience was bar none. I was in one of the biggest tech companies in the world, and I was learning on the fly. I was learning how they did business, how corporate America ran, because that was my first experience in corporate America to that point. So it was a great opportunity, and something that I really appreciate the professors at Bethany and Bob McCann for really putting me in those rooms with people that could give me those opportunities.
And do you feel that later on, and once you graduated, and we'll touch more on it when we talk about life after Bethany, but do you feel that gave you a leg up on some of the other people that were coming out with the same degree as you?
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that I always tell younger people that are in college, that college is more than just going to classes and doing good in classes. It's really about making connections, making relationships with people that can really set you up for a better future once you graduate college, because you can have straight A's throughout college. You can be the smartest person in your class, answer all the questions right, but who knows that? No one knows that. None of these businesses, none of these powerful people know that. No. But when you actually put yourself out there, you do these internships, you rub shoulders with these people, and you make good impressions, then they know about you, and then they're willing to put their reputation on the lines for you to actually have an opportunity to do some of these things, like have internships and move out of state and work for these companies.
So we'll peel back into your Bethany time. So we covered. I'm not going to cover any more on academics because you've pretty much nailed that down. What was and I think it's a current problem right now that we're seeing for the school. What was social life like? Because you were kind of bebopped around everywhere. You might be at a party at one time, and by the end of that hour, you might be on Greek Hill, and then we'll see you at the bar, and we'd see. That was kind of all of us. We had that. I think it was a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday rotation. I mean, there was a lot going on in between, but there was also, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, you knew where everybody was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was the one cool part about Bethany. Of course, Bethany's not a large school with a large student body, but at the same time, since it's a small school, we all know each other. And whenever we had weekends where there was a party, pretty much anybody that wanted to go out, we will all be at that party. So it was pretty much the whole campus. But when I first got to Bethany, the social life was really, really active. We had the bar, we had Greek Hill, we had a lot of the fraternities and sororities having parties, and that was around the time where a lot of the fraternities and sororities were more open to having parties and having people in their houses and stuff like that. But as I progressed and as I became a senior, I'll say the social life kind of dwindled a little bit, especially with the bar shutting down. We had to really find another place to go to, because if whenever the bar was open, the bar was kind of like the first place we go to, and then from there we would go to Greek Hill or one of the sororities and parties. So I'll say whenever the bar shut down, it really kind of slowed down the social life. So then we started doing things like going to West Lib on Wednesdays, and sometimes on the weekends, or we would or kind of whenever I was a senior, we would throw parties in our room. And even though it was kind of a small room, it was a place where everybody can just come and party and have fun.
I think I remember seeing some videos from them parties. They were pretty packed wall to wall.
Yeah.
I don't know if the fire marshal would have necessarily liked it, but it was a good time. It was a good time had.
Definitely a fire.
When you got here, and I'm trying to think back of the things that happened over that time, because social life really did kind of die down. It wasn't the concerts really went away. I don't really remember I remember Dave Coulier. For some reason, him and Steve-O kind of stand out as like speakers that came. But was there anything else like that towards the end of your time? Was there, because like I know Wild 'N Out came, but I was already gone when they came.
Oh yeah, Wild 'N Out came. That was one of my favorite events that took place on campus. I was also part of student government, and we worked the Waka Flocka concert whenever he came. I remember Machine Gun Kelly come in as well. So we had things that occurred on campus, but as like an everyday weekend thing, it wasn't really a lot, and that's when it really fell on the shoulders of the students, us, to kind of make that fun and kind of bring the campus together by doing certain things.
And so before we go to this first break, I want to ask you, do you think that's would that be a staple for what Bethany has become and what it is? It's not so much, you're not going to get the party life just handed to you or the social life handed to you at Bethany. You have to be able to come out of your shell and kind of be willing to, it's a small, like you said, small campus, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're either going to know everybody and talk to them, or know everybody and not talk to them. And I feel like the second side of that, they didn't have as much fun as the people that, like you and I, that we would talk to pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. That because Bethany was so small, it makes you kind of come out of your shell a little bit. So you're kind of forced to meet new people and stuff like that. And then the flip side of it is, since it's a small school, Bethany really didn't have too many activities on a regular basis for us to do. So it fell on the shoulders of us to kind of do things that makes being at Bethany worthwhile and worth kind of, and have the students kind of want to come back and stuff like that.
And lastly, do you still have relationships with the people that you built relationships with here? Like, do you still talk to everybody that you hung out with? I mean, obviously not every day because we're all adults now, but you still keep in contact?
Yeah, for sure. There's as you know, a lot of people that graduate Bethany, they kind of, if they're not from Pittsburgh, they end up kind of migrating to Pittsburgh in some type of way. So I see a lot of them from time to time. And then some of my friends that aren't in Pittsburgh anymore, I still keep in touch with them. I'll be going down to DC for Dom's birthday next month. So we'll all be together down there celebrating his birthday.
All right, DC, you've been warned. They're all, the whole Bethany crew is going to be there. So if you ain't part of the Bethany crew, get out. Get out now. Get your reservations made. Get out.
Fair warning.
Well, so this is the part we got to take a break. I got to send it to that guy who makes the breakfast sandwiches and sells the shirts and everything else that you could need, because if Chambers doesn't have it, you don't need it. Harry Chambers and Chambers General Store. This is currently DJ Boyce, class of 2018. I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour, and we'll be right back.
You've just watched another exciting episode of Dingo Talk, recorded in the secret lair deep in the hills of Bethany, West Virginia. Let me give a shout out to my man Don over at Maple Shade Outdoor. He's got some great stuff going on over there on YouTube and Instagram. Please make sure you check him out. Also, now available as promised, we have the second edition Bethany, West Virginia Mushroom Capital of the World t-shirts and our Chambers General Store. If we don't have it, you don't need it t-shirts. Available in all sizes. So make sure you stop by the store for a t-shirt, breakfast sandwich, or sausage biscuits and gravy, and make sure to check out those daily lunch specials. Now back to you, Dingo.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest, DJ Boyce, class of 2018. We left off, DJ was talking about what the experience is like in Bethany and how you have to kind of make it what you want it to be. It's not going to do it for itself. But here's the thing, it connects. There's this weird test that we all take. It connects us all. Everybody's lost hair and probably 3 or 4 heart attacks during it. Comps. So I got to ask, were you a spring comper or a winter comper?
I was a winter comper. It was very cold when I got outside. I couldn't really celebrate too much outside. I had to get back indoors to celebrate.
So what was being a winter comper? You got a little bit extra time built out to study. What was your studying process like? And then we'll get into the test.
Yeah, my studying process was really just getting together with the people in the department. Just sitting down with them. We were given study guides for pretty much every subject that we were getting tested on. So it was just really just gradually just chipping away at each study guide and going over it again and again, testing each other, making flashcards, stuff like that, meeting each other in the library, spending hours in the library. And I'll say I didn't really, because we take these classes throughout our whole college career. So you would think we're pretty comfortable with them, especially when you're doing good in these classes, you're getting A's and B's in these classes. But that whole process could get a little overwhelming just because it's like, I haven't learned this in like 2 years. I got to like relearn it and make sure I understand it, because this is something I'm gonna see on the test. So it got overwhelming at times, but you just got to make sure you really chip away piece by piece at the study guides and not really try to take it on in full.
Now, you mentioned flashcards and writing a bunch of stuff down and rewriting it, rereading. Was that your process throughout school for the way that you studied? Was it a flashcard and a rewrite and do all that, or?
Yeah, I really wasn't too much of a flashcard type of person. I only did that just because of the people I was studying with. They did flashcards, so I just did it too, just to help each other study and test each other. But I was really, when I was in classes, I was the person that sat in the front of the class and had notebooks full of just information. And then I would just go back and review those notes before tests and before exams and stuff like that. But yeah, I was really the type of person. I was the one that sat in the front of the class and tried to answer as many questions as I could and really push and that's the other thing I liked about my major. The people that I had the finance major with, we really pushed each other to be the best we can be in that field. whenever we would have classes, it was like a competition to see who could get the answers right, who could get the most answers right. And that type of stuff, that type of pushing each other really helped all of us grow, really, because when you stepped in the class, you were kind of expected to perform well.
Well, and that fuel, I'm guessing that athletic side of you as well, being in almost like a competition of who could answer more questions, that was easier for you to make it more worth it long haul, because that athletic nature of yours and the competitive nature, that was going to be a thing. You weren't going to let somebody beat you in the answers.
Yeah, exactly. Like I treat life like sports. So like going into anything in life, I'm very competitive. I don't like losing. You could say I'm a sore loser, because I just don't like losing. So whenever I go into anything, I want to be the best. I want to be the top dog in anything. So yeah, whenever we would go into classes and stuff like that, it was like a thing that I want to be the best in the class. I want to be the top in the class, and my classmates felt the same. So it was a good way of just pushing each other to be the best.
So we get to Monday morning out there in Weimer Lecture Hall. You get your folder, your blue books, and what's DJ's initial reaction to opening the test and looking at the questions?
I was pretty relaxed whenever the test started. It was a lot of the questions were kind of formulated the same way that I studied. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty relaxed, and that was kind of the main thing I always told myself was, whenever I took this test, just be relaxed. Like I love business. I've been taking these classes for years now. Just be relaxed. Just go in there and answer them. There were some times where I had like some brain farts with some of the questions, and Ramji and Verge and Fletcher, they kind of brought it up to me whenever I did the comprehensive part. They were like, I can't believe you got this wrong. I was like, yeah, I was just trying to get as many questions as I can answered, just so I could kind of cover my base with the ones I got wrong. So, but yeah, whenever I opened the test, it was like really just be as calm and just be as relaxed as I can be.
Now, when you got into your orals, and was that an easier, when they pointed some of those out to you, like they knew that you knew the answers and they couldn't believe you got them wrong, did that relax you in that setting as well? Because that's where I feel comps can get a little bit dicey, is that if you're not comfortable speaking in front of a panel, now you don't have a choice. You got two of your professors from your major and a professor from outside that you had. Do you remember who was on your panel?
Yeah, it was Wilf, Fletcher, Ramji, and Verge. And leading up to orals, I'm the type of person, especially during comps, I would be in Ramji's office pretty much every day after I finished the written exams. Like, am I good? Like, how much stock do I have to put in these orals? And she kind of told me that, you're in good shape. You don't really, the orals are still important, but you're in good shape. You'll more than likely pass. So I was a little bit more relaxed, but they were, just because, like I said before, I have a good personal relationship with those professors. So they were just giving me a hard time, grilling me on a lot of questions, kind of like, just really giving me a hard time with some of the questions. And then towards the end, they brought up some questions that I got wrong on the written exams, and was like, what were you thinking? I was like, just trying to answer as many questions as I can. But the oral exams, I don't know. I'm the type of person, I'm really comfortable in front of people. So there wasn't any nerves, but I was just more so just being given a hard time by the professors. But I got through it.
So you touched on it a little bit. You walk outside, and normally, for those of you that don't know, there's a tradition at Bethany that started somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, where you when you pass your oral comps, you walk outside, your friends are there, and it's party time. DJ, on the other hand, walked outside into a winter vortex and told everybody, let's go, we're taking this party somewhere else because I'm cold.
Yeah.
What was the feeling? So you walk out the door, your boys are there, everybody's there, the people that you spent the most time with at Bethany. What was it a weight off your shoulders?
Yeah, it was definitely a weight off my shoulders, because once you once you kind of get that pen when you're downstairs, once you get that pen, you're good now. Like now the next step is graduation. You don't have any classes to worry about. It's really party time after that. So whenever I walked out, like you said, saw all my friends, saw everybody that I spent a lot of time with, that I had good relationships with, just all out there waiting for me. They brought me kind of my alcohol to celebrate with. And then it was so cold out there. It was like, all right, it's time to round up, time to take it indoors. And but we had fun that night. We had probably 3 parties in a row that night. Well, 3 parties in a row, 3 days in a row.
Yeah. So you're done in January. You're comped. You're really just kind of riding it out until graduation, and you end up with a job before you're going to walk across the stage. So when you walk across that Saturday on the stage, you're going into a job. Or is it that following Monday you started, or?
No. So by the time graduation came and I walked across the stage, I was already at my job and moved into my apartment probably for about 3-4 months. Mm-hmm. So I was already working. I was already into my career working by the time I walked across the stage. I got a job with this outsourced risk management firm called Risk International. Actually, the CFO of the company is an alumni at Bethany, and I was working for them, and I had that job was very interesting. We had a lot of clients around the country, a lot of them publicly traded, mm-hmm. and we would work with these companies on really mitigating their risk, setting them up with good insurance programs that save them money, and really working with the CEOs, CFOs, and the chief legal counsels of those companies, just day by day, just making sure their risk management controls are intact, and whenever problems occur, really attacking them and fixing them for them. And it was really interesting because I don't think a lot of people, when they first get into a career, that they have access to these CEOs, CFOs of Fortune 500 companies, publicly traded companies right out the bat. And I was able to really meet with them, work with them hands-on, and really build relationships with them.
So let's fast forward, because we all are coming out of this whole last year being what it was with the pandemic going on. How did that affect you work-wise?
So yeah, work-wise, I was able to work from home. I worked from home the whole 2022, and that was really nice, because it's always nice when you wake up, you just got to roll over and turn on your computer. You don't have to get prepared for work, get up and stuff like that. So it was nice to kind of do that. But yeah, whenever the pandemic hit, I kind of wanted to kind of make my way back to Pittsburgh, because when the pandemic hits, everything's closed, and you're just really sitting in your apartment most of the time. And I really realized that Ohio really isn't for me. Mm-hmm. Just living in Ohio permanently really wasn't for me. And I really wanted to, for one, be back in Pittsburgh, and for two, if I couldn't get back to Pittsburgh, just go somewhere else where it was kind of more going on. So I ended up looking for jobs. The application process was terrible. I probably filled out about 40 to 50 applications. And that really goes to show you that connections are more important than just knowing your stuff and being smart, because connections will get you into doors that your intelligence really just can't. Mm-hmm. And I was able to get an interview with the chief legal counsel over at PNC Bank. And through that, I was able to meet the CEO of PNC Bank while I was talking to the chief legal counsel. And the chief legal counsel, he's a Bethany alum as well. And I was speaking to him, and he was really adamant on getting me into PNC and finding me the perfect position at PNC. And from there, he got me in touch with the head of HR at PNC, and they had a job picked out for me that they thought would be perfect for me based on my previous work experience. And then I got to meet the hiring manager and some of the people on that particular team, met with them, talked to them about my past experience, how I work, kind of the way I view corporate America and stuff like that. And they ended up offering me the job within a week of meeting the chief legal counsel. And it happened so fast. They came and told me, like, hey, can you just fill out the application just so we can have you in the system? So like I like that type of way of finding jobs through connections and through people that have vouched for you in the past and that know of your ability rather than just them looking at a piece of paper, because anybody can look good on a piece of paper and you kind of get lost in the mix when you're just an application and there's nothing that really sticks with the people that are kind of doing the hiring. So that's kind of my spill on kind of the connections being more important than just knowledge.
Well, and we got to point this out. It's great to have you back on this side. And I'm sure as a homegrown Pittsburgh Steeler fan, you're going to be real thankful to not have to listen to them Browns fans day in and day out there in Ohio.
I'm very, very thankful I don't have to listen to that anymore, because they think if they win 4 games in a row that they're going to the Super Bowl. And literally my whole entire office was Browns fans, and they would just give me a hard time. And then when they beat us, it's like the whole week I got to hear that my clients, they're Browns fans. So I got to hear from them on meetings, and it's like, I can't wait to be amongst Steeler fans again.
The like-minded people need to come back into my life.
Yes, exactly.
So I have 2 questions left. One, you touched on it a little bit when you talked about how you were going through the process to find and ended up finding Bethany. If you were talking to, let's say, somebody who's about to graduate from Gateway this year, why Division III? Why should an athlete look at the Division III level?
I mean, because sometimes, with Division II and Division I, you don't really get the opportunity or the look just because of the competition there. I think with Division III, you're able to kind of get in and kind of prove your worth faster than you can with the Division I and Division II. And it really comes to being realistic. We all want to play Division I, we all want to play Division II, but sometimes your situation doesn't call for that. And I know people that have walked on to Division I programs, Division II programs when they didn't have scholarships, and some of them seen playing time, but most of them didn't see any playing time, and they really were just a name on a roster, pretty much. And I don't know about them, but me personally, I don't want to be that. I want to come in, I want to play, I want to provide an impact to the team and to the conference, really. So it's really about being realistic and how fast do you want to play. I was the type of person, whenever I came out of high school, I wanted to play immediately. I wanted to compete for the starting job immediately. And even though I'd never played a basketball game at Bethany going into the season, I was in the running to do that. So I think that was kind of my main thing, and I was able to achieve it, but ended up not playing basketball because I really wanted to focus on getting my degree and set myself up for life after college.
And to touch on that, why, if you, again, say you're talking to that same student, why Bethany? Why would you send somebody to come to Bethany for this experience?
If I had to recommend Bethany to someone, I would really say it's about kind of the relationship you build with the professors. When you kind of get away from where Bethany's at, what's around Bethany, and you really focus on what Bethany has to offer. Bethany's a place that has a lot of connections, and I noticed that the day I went on the visit, and it proved true throughout my time at Bethany that they have a lot of connections. And when you're good to people and when you're a good person and you're building genuine relationships, people are willing to put their reputation and their name on the line for you. And it's up to you to just perform after that. Mm-hmm. So I think if I was recommending Bethany to someone, that would be my selling point, is that the relationships you built with the people there and the alumni there, it's amazing. Because Bethany's a small school, but Bethany travels well outside of Brooke County. I can't tell you how many times I run into Bethany alums. I can't tell you how many times where I'm looking for opportunities and Bethany alums are that hold high positions are more than willing to help and kind of lend their resources. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've never been to another college, but I doubt another college has that type of reach.
I mean, I think that that is, it's all encompassing, and it really is. You could be in Oregon, you could be in Massachusetts or Maine, you could be in Germany, and you could probably run into at least one or two Bethany people.
Exactly.
Well, DJ, I want to say thank you. We've come to the end here. I really appreciate it. It's always good to see you. You know, one of the goats of Bethany that you are, I have to, we had to get you on the show. You know, eventually we get there and fry the goat of goats. But I thank you for taking time out of your day and sitting down with us. For those of you that don't know or just getting to this point of the show, this is DJ Boyce, class of 2018. I'm Carlo Guadagnino. This has been the Alumni Tour. Don't forget, every Thursday at 10 a.m., make sure you watch it. If you're on the mailing list that I send out and you don't want to be anymore, please let me know, but please need the views. DJ, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And next time you're around, we'll have to link up.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, brother. And we'll see you guys next Thursday at 10 a.m.
Peace.
You wanna know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know